Hey guys, Dib the Awesome here to give you a Monster Legends guide on Santerion, basically the best monster by the end of the year. That's crazy. Given the fact of Wormlad's existence, I wouldn't think there'd be anything else better since Wormlad or Hornet, really. Those were, these are the top boys in terms of my opinion, and the end of the year is Wormlad and Hornet. It surprises me that this monster swoops in last second, because holy tamale, is this monster really, really, really good. It's like really unfair. It is one of the, I think it's a Forsaken monster. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Forsaken. I don't know if it's Forsaken. I'm assuming it's Forsaken because Thunder is Forsaken. This monster is really, really, really incredible and demands that the only way you beat it is through the anti-meta Pierce. Right? You can only ever beat this thing with Pierce. Why is that? Well, we'll get into that. Let's talk about everything. We're going to go over everything in this video because trait alone, before I didn't look through too much of the skills. I looked immediately at the trait. There's a whole bunch of words here and they're phenomenal. Let's go through each and every one and I'll kind of explain what the best thing is at the end. Life. 44,636 at rank 0. This is a 0 at level 100. This is rank 0. These are stats at rank 0. Phenomenal base life. Let's be real here. 44k at level 100? That's pretty awesome. That is really, really good on a tank and that can Megaton, right? So that's really good. Like, you run full life on this thing for sure because we'll get to that in a minute. But this is pretty good. Power, 3,476, not the highest power, not the damage dealer, that's fine, but it's good for passive damage. It's above the gospel power, which is 465. As long as it's over 465, it can do some moderate damage. It's not going to do the most damage, but it's alright damage. Speed, 3,421, slow as balls, but not slow to the extent where he'll never see him again. At some point, he'll get a turn in. This is a good speed. It's not a fast speed, but it's an alright speed to work with. You'll never outpace anything. You don't need to. That's not his game plan. So let's talk about his traits because these were the eye-opening things for me. Harden plus Megaton skill cast at rank 0. So once you get this thing at rank 0, you don't need to rank it to 1. Immediately, it gets Megaton right away. That's very, very, very rare in terms of like Megaton monsters as of recent, because with every like Megaton monster, you always had to rank it up to a certain degree. I think Ezreal was 3, but most of the time it's rank 1. So this is a pretty big deal, meaning that it gets it right away. So if you don't get him ranked up right away, hey, you got the main use for him immediately. That's very, very appealing. And being the fact he's a maze monster, this is even more to the fact nice. Very, 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 very nice. At rank 1, this is the big boy moment. This is where I really like, whoa, this is way, like, the best thing ever. Like, this is insane. At rank 1, if you rank it up at least once, he gets access to Megaton as a permanent trait. That is right. This is the first monster in Monster Legends throughout this entire year. This whole, like enthusiastic, wave of Megaton monsters to prevent area deny plays, to prevent area huge, like, big boy damage to everyone on your team plays. It's all about Megaton this year. It's basically Megaton and area dodge, and this man has Megaton as a permanent trait, meaning you have to trait disable this first before you can do virtually anything else. It's not like remove positive effects and boom, you're done. You don't have to worry about Megaton. No, you need to trait disable Megaton. You cannot just remove Megaton from this thing. It is Megaton. It is a permanent Megaton monster. Phenomenal. Disabling traits isn't like too common, and the funny thing is we are just getting a light monster that can easily pick off Megaton, like another Wormlad essentially. Like, even if they have protect positive effects, that's just double removal. This is pretty much the best Megaton in the game right now then, because this for sure guarantees, like, unless they trait disable it, you will always have Megaton up. You cannot area anything the team until this is trait disabled. That's a big deal. That is huge. This falls into so many different things, but just the fact he can absorb everything and not care is a big deal, because even more so if you get this to rank 3, he gets Artifact, which means you can't deny him. Like, you can't, like, poison him, deny him, like, anything. When you have Artifact, you are immune to everything, and you can never get anything. That's the rule with Artifact, right? He doesn't really need any of that if he has the power of God anyway. Like, this thing is meant to absorb everything. So it doesn't really matter. And on top of that, he's even the best Mega Taunter in the game because he doesn't take any DOT damage ever. Again, you have to disable his trait. You have to actually disable. You can't just remove positive effects. You cannot do anything until you've disabled this man's trait. That's a big deal. It's a tank. Like, this thing doesn't die easy. It's crazy. So this just adds on to longevity. A lot of people might be saying, oh, hey, Dib, but that means, like, I can't get, you know, buffs on my, you know, Santerion. It doesn't need buffs. You just need to keep it alive. And it stays alive very well with Artifact. It doesn't need any boost. It doesn't need life regen. All of its skills are actually healing skills, in a matter of fact. So it's not worried about anything. It's just an annoying tank. It's just stupid. It's amazing. And then rank 4 is an area damage reduction, so you even do less natural damage. You already can't DOT him, and you're telling me he reduces everyone on my team's damage if I don't have an area dodge monsters, like a whole team of area dodge, or like, Mega Taunt monster? So, if like anyone's not running that, you just immediately do less damage. I don't know how much the damage reduction is. It might be just 25% garbage, but still doing less damage on top of, like, you know, DOTs that also reduce damage. That's very unappealing. I don't like those situations. And hey, this guy does it right away. Relics, oh my god, they gave this man banner and armor. Fantastic relic setup. Self-sustaining relics are the best relics in the game. They gave this man a banner for stamina and or huge life regen from Invar's banner, Talika's banner, which gives you increase max forever of the game if you run it, plus armor, which equals self-sustain. You can run a healing like armor usually is self-sustaining. It's not necessarily bad for tanks that need to take up damage like Mega Taunters. It's very good actually for just that aspect. It doesn't work for whole team aspect, but it's still nice for self aspect if you want to keep it alive forever. And this thing does that. That's really, really, really nice. So really good sustain. Books, Mechanical Sea and Winter Book. Okay, so sadly, this man got doomed by two huge, like, hater books, right? So he's weak to Scrap Warrior and Gorg. I can foresee these monsters being used more now, because everyone's going to want to remove this, because they will never be able to remove it by normal competitive means. Like, they can't just curse kill it. Like, they can't. Like, this is a huge problem, and looking at this man's cooldowns, they're not too high, especially I see like a 1-turn cooldown skill. You might even run a spammable skill. So, this is pretty interesting. This is really interesting. So, Elf's unit, Logistics, deals moderate magic damage, no, not magic, metal damage to all enemies, applies nanovirus to all enemies. It's a nice little kind of resource skill. I think this skill would be nice. It's not a bad skill to be able to spam, you know, nanovirus virtually forever. Blocking positive effects is relatively good as long as they don't have spam removal. So it won't work with a Rag and Wormlad fight, but it'll work against anything else that doesn't, like, spam it forever. If they don't have consistent, you know, removal effects, this is a big deal. Cookie and Port deals heavy special damage to one enemy, applies a random negative status effect to one enemy, spammable. So this is a good idea if you're fighting against, like, cooldowns activated, which you commonly do. Like, I kid you not, every time I run a Mega Taunt monster, they get cooldowns activate. So they don't ever get to do anything. I'd say run this skill if you just hate those situations. I usually do. And hey, you apply a random negative status, so that means you can get virtually anything if it's negative status. I think when it says negative status, it's like DOT or just anything. It's literally anything. So that's crazy. Removes all negative status from itself. It gives an extra turn to itself. I don't think you need this. It doesn't. Like, when will this ever be affected by anything? Maybe like trait disable. That might be a good reason to run it actually. So you guarantee you will never really have anything applied to you. So that might be a good. Let's say they're running like, you know, let's say you can give this thing anticipation. Oh, I can't really because it's artifact. But just in case of the event, you get a turn in, right? You can clean it. That's pretty good. It prevents follow-up. Let's say you get, like, possessed for whatever reason. Hey, there we go. It's a self-reset. So this is a good self-protection for that. Lord Pumpseed does exist, so this is a good counter for him. Removes positive effects from one enemy, applies random negative status effects to one enemy, applies random torture to one enemy. So maybe status effects are actually not entitled to like DOTs. Maybe it's like reverse healing and stuff like that. That's probably it. I'd say this is a really nice skill because it's kind of boosted Krampus in a way. This thing's kind of like Krampus and Pandulf combined with a Chimeron in the mix for whatever reason. Because he has a lot of double effects plus healing skills. So I find that pretty interesting. Pathfinding to a chimney deals very heavy metal damage to one enemy and dazes them and nanoviruses them. It's a 60 damage skill, 2-turn cooldown. Not the main focus, but daze and nanovirus are annoying to deal with. They're not like hard to remove, but they're just annoying. Missing, like slight chances of missing plus power nerf with the damage reduction already there. That can be, you know, kind of bothersome. Sweater's pattern recognition deals moderate metal damage to all enemies, applies a torture to all enemies, heals all allies by 35%, so it's a random DOT plus a 35% heal. This is really, really, really nice because not only are you applying a DOT, you're also healing. And for most part, heal skills have always been just kind of, if you're healing, you're not doing anything else additionally. I believe there was, I think his name was Telekohu, or not Telekohu, or like, I want to say that's his name. It was like a fire bird monster. I think there was like a, it's not Yamada. No, it's not Yamada I'm thinking of. Maybe like the Yamada's one of those monsters that could do that, but I think I could have sworn there was another monster that did damage plus healing, but I can't remember. But Yamada being one of them, I guess we could just use Yamada as a good example of damage plus healing is really nice because not only are you doing damage, you're also healing. I think the new quest Nature Monster does that too, so it is a nice thing to do. This may be a skill you might want to run, being the fact it also passively heals your team. The only iffy thing is that 3-turn cooldown. Deals heavy metal damage to an enemy, applies a random protection effect to all allies. At some point, you don't even get this anymore if it's beyond rank 3 because you have artifact. But that doesn't matter because it's more so a, protect your friends, like it's a self-protection. I'd say protection skills are pretty busted, given the situation where they don't have the skill to do the damage. So protection skills are pretty righteous. This ranges from evasions, I do believe, to like shields, like elemental shields, which you only take damage from specific types. Like if you get like the special damage only shield and you pair it with what's the monster? Remtar, who blocks all special damage, that's OP. That's very strong. It means you will guarantee for sure not take any damage unless they can remove the positive effect. That's pretty great. Jingle Bell Curves heals one ally by 75%, applies a random negative effect to all enemies. So not only is this a single target heal, they restore 75%, which you could use on yourself, mind you. This is strong for a monster who has artifact that can heal 75% right away. If you don't, like, essentially, if you don't Oko this thing, like, and it gets a turn in and you didn't cooldowns activate, it just gets all of its life back. That's crazy. that's very, very crazy. And it's on a 2-turn cooldown and applies a negative status. This is a really good skill. I say run this skill. You have no idea how good a heal, like this strong of a healing skill is for a Megaton tank. Like Megaton tanks, like, don't ever get this luxury of a big heal. Like a big sustaining move. And this thing gets it for free. Plus it has artifacts, so you can't even take DOT. That's crazy. So run this skill. I gotta say, this is a must skill. You want this, because this guarantees him just being out there forever. Because keep in mind, you are also taking all the area damage too. So this kind of makes up for that. His skill is dumb. I think this is one of his best kills in his kit, just because it's basically a full life reset for free. And he already has other healing skills, so it's just kind of dumb. Neural Network Carols, which removes positive effects from all enemies, deals moderate metal damage to all enemies, and it dazes all enemies. So on top of more damage reduction, we got daze again. Daze plus the damage reduction. I don't think this is something you need to run, but to have, like, remove positive effects is always nice. I don't think he needs to be the one doing it, though. You're probably running, like, a full speed monster that does it more efficiently. So I'd say this is a move that you may run. you don't necessarily need to run it. Maybe you're dealing with a fight where you need to constantly remove positive effects. Hey, this could work. Behavior Christmas Tree removes all negative status from all allies, applies life regen to all allies, applies stamina regen to all allies. This is a 3-turn cooldown. I gotta say, this is really, really nice. This is basically Wormlands, but more sustain focused, which is really, really, really nice. I really like these area cleanses. And this one just gives life and stamina regen. This could be really, really good. I'd say run this because this seems done. this seems really great. Like, to remove all, like, cleanse, so basically if you get trait disabled, right, not only will you remove the trait disabled, but now you have life and stamina regen, so stamina draining doesn't even work on you. That's crazy. Like, that's nuts. So I'd say run it. I'd say run the skill for sure, because, again, your allies get this, and you're probably running, like, area dodge monsters, right, and they get stamina regen, too. Like, can you imagine how good this is on Hornet? Like, Hornet gets, like, stamina regen and life regen for free. Always. That's crazy. That's really nice. Ho-ho.exe deals heavy special damage to all enemies. Heals all allies by 50%. This is a 2-turn cooldown, 50% heal. You're crazy if you don't run this skill. A 50% area heal? Really? Like, and it does damage? That's incredible. Like, that's really good, and it's an area skill. Yeah, run the skill. You want ho.exe. Really great. Gifting algorithm applies a random negative stat effect to all enemies, applies a random positive effect to all allies, and gives 1 extra turn to itself. I don't really like, in all honesty, extra turn skills. I don't like them because they're usually susceptible to anticipation plays, but if the anticipation play doesn't really matter, go for it. Most of the time, though, you face, like, Ragnaroks, and that can be bothersome. But given the fact of this thing's sustainability, I don't think it really cares. Like, it just doesn't. Like, they'll heal, they'll remove the, they wind up, cleansing it. But then you can just go in with another play if you wanted to. Like, it doesn't, I don't know if it matters too much. It depends if I will say it depends if you're winning. Like, that's a huge deal. And it's also a 3-turn cooldown. Also take that into consideration. I just don't think it's too good of a skill. It's something you may run, but I don't think it's something you need. Binaural coral distribution deals massive metal damage to one enemy, applies a random torture to all enemies, and applies a random torture to all enemies. So it's a double torture area skill, and it does 70 damage to a single person. This melts a single person. You know that, right? This completely melts someone. If you're running like 2 lives and a strength rune, this will completely melt someone. Double stacking DOTs on top of other possible DOTs you have with the other units. This is pretty strong. I gotta admit here. This is gonna be some really, really, really nasty gameplay. So the ultimate, it does cooldowns and a random torture, 2 random tortures and a cooldown. Damage doesn't mean much because, again, it's not a damage dealer. What I think you should run on this, run the 50% area heal, run the remove negative life regen plus stamina regen. Those are really good skills. Double torture would be nice if you actually get this to 4. If you actually do get this to 4, run that. That is so strong. Double DOTs, really good. Nice. What else is there? I would also have you run the 35% heal. That's really nice. And to top it all off, hey, you could run a spammable skill if you wanted. Or I'd say the remove positive effects plus nanovirus plus torture is also a good option. Just giving you something to do if they have evasion and you want to remove that. That could be a huge play later. But I think that's his best skill set, to be perfectly honest with you guys. Or I'd say Jingle Bell Curves. That's actually better now. Just run that. So final build, Coral Distribution, ho-ho.exe, Behavior, Christmas Tree, and Jingle Bell Curves is something I'd probably run more than likely. It just gives your monster so much sustain, so much versatility, and it's just a good healing support. I have to say, this is probably the best healing monster in the game, if we're going to be honest here, because it has Megaton, right? So it covers your entire team, It can heal for any of the damage you do on the condition it gets a turn in. So you could run like extra turn monsters like Grass Sea God, for example. Full life reset, free like extra turn. Like this, so much things you can do with that build because in terms of self-sustaining. And it doesn't have to just be on Santerion. You can put the heal on any other monster. Like that 75% heal can go towards anything for whatever reason. Let's say there's like an enemy Pierce monster. Your Wormlad's almost dead. Boom. 75% heal, back and running again. Perfect. I have to say this is the best monster for 2019. Like near the end of the year, it's all been about Mega Taunt and Area Dodge. And Mega Taunt has always been great for everyone. Like it benefits the whole team, not just like like Area Dodge. It also counts as regular taunt, so it also protects your Area Dodge monsters. Though given like this monster's wide usage, like in terms of that, I have to say it's really great. Like, like what does this not beat? It even beats Wormlad if you actually think about it, because it does metal-based it has a metal-based single target skill on like a 2-turn cooldown. If this thing is in a good position, Wormlad can't actually do anything about this monster. He actually has to rely on others to win. Like you have to revive someone to kill like Santerion. I don't think Wormlad can touch this like like at all, because Wormlad's damage is based either on DOT or like his strong single target skills. Like the area damage skills won't do anything. Skill mirror would be a botheration, but I think Santerion just wins this fight in space. I think this will also increase the use of Hornet, because Hornet is a huge counter. It's also a great partner for Santerion because Hornet can keep the life regen and stamina regen thanks to the area positive protection that it provides. I think that's a great partner for it. And Wormlad too. Like busted stuff, in short, already busted things work even more busted with this. Like it's just a great support because it gets Mega Taunt permanently. Like not many teams like straight up run trait disable. Like it is such an uncommon thing. It's still used as a single target thing, but it's more so about removing positive effects. This thing has it as a trait. So that means everyone has to run trait disable. If this monster becomes like mainstream, everyone has to run trait disable or they'll never get by this thing. This thing is designed not to be O-code right away, and it can always heal itself. Like that's crazy to me. Rune sets, obviously full life or a 1 damage for the Wormlad so you can bully him later. Like that's a option. Beyond that though, just full life. This thing was meant to take hits and laugh at your enemies because they can't kill him. You can't be DOT'd. You get side effect. That's crazy. This monster is really, really powerful. That being said, I gotta say, just because he's a Forsaken monster right now, as it seems, in terms of event stuff, I kind of waited till the end to say this. Being's the fact he's not a race monster, being's the fact he is a monster you must do in the maze, and being's the fact to get his best skills, I think it's around like, I don't want to say 9k, like to get access to that torture skill would be a huge advantage. You don't necessarily need it. I think in terms of playability, he needs to be at least rank 2, right? I don't know how much coins that would take, but being's the fact of 1 is usually a lot. Rank 1 is kind of a lot. I think that hurts his playability. So until like people can actually get this through money or something like that, I don't know how many people will have this like ranked up all the way. This seems like a really rare unit to have because it, like how I see it, race monster, like the race events are the only way to really get the Forsaken monsters, because we got Lord Pumpseed, right? We got the Crabtron. Neither of those monsters were maze monsters. Name me one person who has a fully ranked up like Wild Bird or the Nature Forsaken monster. Name one person that actually was able to get them all the way ranked up with, without virtually cheating or spending like a lot of money. The best competitive monsters usually in terms of ranking up, you can just get through, doing the event, gem events. Like, you can just do the progression islands, or the you can just buy the packs or whatever. Like Hornet's pack, for example. We just got a Hornet deal for like 500 cells for like 999 gems. What's easier? A 999 gem deal? Like you probably have to buy another pack. Well, not like the 999. You got just scrape a few more for the solid copy. would that be more cheaper than actually spending a lot more money on this Santerion? Yeah. So I guess it just comes down to accessibility. Virtually speaking, though, if we were going to be honest here, I mean, this monster's traits are amazing. This monster is really good. This is by far easily a best end of the year monster. There's nothing that can beat this, really. But it's, in terms of ease of access, it's not easy to rank up. It's expensive to get this monster done. Like, it will win you games, but it will be very expensive to get this thing done. So that's my standpoint. I think it's the best monster in the game, but it's not ease of access, and it does hurt its viability in the sense that it's not easy to get. It's not, again, it's, in terms of playstyle, you win games, but in terms of actually getting it, it's not realistic without spending a lot of money. But that's it for this video. I'm Dib the Awesome, and I'll catch you guys later.